Tonight, it's the era of electronic voting in Kaduna State as local government elections are held. Governor Nasir El-Rufai loses ward to the People's Democratic Party. The All Progressives Congress conducts local government congress across the country. Turnout is impressive as parallel elections hold in Ogun State. Suspected kidnappers kill Igbinedion University student. Governor Godwin Obaseki commiserates with the victim's family. And the Taliban battles for control for Afghanistan Panjshir Valley as heavy fighting continues with opposing forces. Plus, business, news and sports.
On business news tonight, Nigeria records 1.87 trillion naira trade deficit in the second quarter of 2021.
On sports news tonight, it was a stellar performance for Team Nigeria at the Tokyo Paralympic Games as they ended the multi-sport event with 10 medals.
All Progressives Congress APC is holding local government Congress elections across the country today. The exercise is to elect the leadership of the party at the local government level and delegates to regional and national congresses and convention. The second layer of the Congress is holding after the party ratified the Ward Congress appeal report across the country. Caretaker committee of the APC led by Yobe State Governor Maimala Buni says the court orders from Delta and Akwa Ibom will not stop the process as it does not affect the conduct of the exercise. He asked party members to abide by the rules governing the election, promising that the party will address all anomalies emanating from the process. Well, in the north, the APC local Congress election held, and while the election went peacefully in most parts of the region, there were slight hiccups in some other areas. Generally, however, the turnout was impressive.
3 weeks after the Ward Congress of the All Progressives Congress to elect party executives at the ward level, members of the party are conducting another Congress, this time the Local Government Congress, to determine the executives at the local government level. Members of the party in Taraba State could not agree on the mode for the conduct of the Congress as tensions rise.
The party have issued a guideline that either it should be consensus, and when there are no consensus, there should be general election. There should be election. The Article 20 of the Constitution of the party say where one person refused, did not agree with consensus, they should go for election.
Adamawa State had its share of drama as members of the party stormed the party secretariat to express their disagreement over the conduct of the exercise across the 21 local government areas of the state.
Nobody see here. This is a venue. Everybody here is telling that at around 10 to 11, you come here to voting. No materials. Everybody see here. It's a real details.
It was a different tune in Jigawa State as members of the party agreed to adopt consensus candidates across the 27 local government areas of the state.
We have witnessed its conduct in transparent, free, fair, and based on consensus modality.
Yobe State also adopted consensus candidates for the 17 local government areas with the belief that the option will keep members of the party united.
You will bring peace, unity and harmony in the party. Because if you allow many people to go into contest, at the end of the day, if anybody who loses, even if he is not popular, he will still come and tell you if he was given enough chance, he could have won.
Kaduna State also adopted consensus for the executive of each of the 34 local government areas in the state. Officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission were on ground to monitor the exercise. Under the watchful eyes of Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State, the winners of the World Congress in the state were sworn in. A procedure for the conduct of the local government congress was laid, as it will be replicated in all the 11 local government areas in the state.
We are solidly on the ground, and we have the great support and our party. So I don't fear anybody any day, and I'm assuring everybody that these people that you saw will provide good leadership and will deliver this party, come rain, come sunshine.
The party has already scheduled September 6th to 11 to address all the appeals that may arise from the local government congress.
And in the southwest of the country, the All Progressives Congress also had its share of the exercise. From Lagos to Oyo State, a large number of party supporters trooped out as consensus candidacy held sway.
The Southwest is known to be politically active and vibrant, and this is brought to bear on the turnout of party supporters in the All Progressives Congress local government congresses. Party members in Osun State gather across the 30 local government areas to pick candidates who will run the affairs of the party at the grassroots level. Consensus candidacy is eventually adopted. In Lagos, an impressive crowd is present within this hall at the Oshodi Solo local government area as the exercise holds across the 20 local government areas of the state. As is common in most political gatherings, a rendition of songs by party loyalists. Then names of officials across the 11 wards in Oshodi are announced, and then for affirmation, they are promptly sworn in.
We make sure that we harmonize the list. All the caucuses were fully represented, but at a stage, some scrupulous elements from the state level, they try to tinker with the list. But as you can see, the majority will always have their way. That is why we have loads of people here that are fully represented and support the harmonized list from this local government.
Now to Ondo State, where the APC Secretariat in Akure South local government area is the venue of the Congress, and the process adopted is also that of consensus candidacy. Chairman of the Ondo State Local Government Congress Committee, who's the acting state chairman of the party, says the exercise is satisfactory.
This is the very first time that all the leaders will come together unanimously and took an acceptable decision that all the leaders, they decided to have just one voice.
The truth of the matter is that in an exercise of this nature, there will be different opinions. We are sufficiently certain that all of this will have been resolved by now. But even if there's any other thing that needs to be resolved, there are processes in place for that to be handled.
In Oyo and Ekiti states, there were equally large turnouts of APC members who took advantage of the Congress to choose leaders who will represent them at the local government levels.
You can see how enthusiastic people are. It shows that Oyo State belongs to APC. This is not a real election. This is just party primary, a party congress. You can see the people. You cannot imagine what will happen if we were to have election.
We said the Congress must be free and fair, and we said they shouldn't allow anybody, whoever he is, to hijack their mandate.
From now to 2023, political activities will rev up, and politicians themselves are leaving nothing to chance as they solidify control of their domains at the ward, local, state, and indeed federal levels. And in all of this, all the political parties are in the center as they begin to woo voters who will eventually decide.
In Ogun State, Governor Dakpo Abiodun and other members of the All Progressives Congress selected delegates for the party at the local government level. He participated in the exercise at St. Saviour Anglican Primary School in Ikenne local government area of the state. The governor was satisfied with the maturity displayed by party members in Ikenne and other areas where the exercise held.
These are supporters of the All Progressives Congress in Ikenne, the home local government area of the serving governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakpo Abiodun. Strong party loyalists showing their support for the new leaders of the party. They vote for the consensus option, affirming their choices. At the St. Saviour Anglican Primary School, the crowd came alive with the arrival of the governor and his entourage. For the governor, the peaceful exercise only goes to show how ready the All Progressives Congress is to consolidate on the gains of this administration and lay a foundation for a better future for the state.
It is no mean task to conduct successful and peaceful elections across 236 wards in the first instance and then 20 local governments in the second instance. Our party has grown from where we were in 2019. We've had other parties join our fold. We now have better chances, as proven by our showing our last local government election, which was extremely fair. It was all inclusive. The turnout was successful, and the win was landslide. Particularly in local governments that APC had never won in the past. So this further reinforces the fact that we are the party to beat.
The chairman of the Congress Committee, Mr. Wale Ohu, who monitors the exercise at the venue, describes it as a peaceful and an orderly one, as he reiterates that the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State is one united family, and there's nothing that will tear apart the party in the state.
What we have seen so far in Ogun State is excellent and perfect. The Congress is in perfect order. We have visited the 20 local governments in Ogun State. Orderliness, consensus, and it was a great outing for our party members. To this effect, we want to congratulate all the party members in Ogun State who have conducted themselves very well to conclude this exercise.
Everything is now set for the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State to march on to the next level, and everyone here believes that this crop of leaders elected are capable of achieving success.
In part two, after the break, more on the APC Local Government Congress as a parallel election holds in Ogun State, plus our special report of the Borno IDPs. Join us again. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. It's the era of electronic voting in Kaduna State as local government elections hold. Governor Nasir El-Rufai loses polling unit to the People's Democratic Party. The All Progressives Congress conducts local government congress across the country. Turnout is impressive as parallel elections hold in Ogun State. The suspected kidnappers killed Igunedion University student, the younger brother of activist Omoyele Sowore. Governor Godwin Obaseki commiserates with the victim's family. And Taliban battles for control of Afghanistan Panjshir Valley as heavy fighting continues with opposing forces. Another group of the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State, led by former governor and 7 lawmaker Senator Ibikule Amosun, also organized a separate local government congress earlier today. It held across the 20 local government areas of the state, and the turnout was massive. Hundreds of delegates of the All Progressives Congress in Abeokuta North ready for the Congress, an exercise to elect officials who will lead the affairs of the party in the local government area for the next 4 years. The delegates queue behind preferred candidates as election officials take count using the option A4. As the process goes on here, so does it in Ijebu North, Ijebu Ode, Shagamu, Yewa North, Yewa South, Adodo, Otaikpokia, and across the 3 senatorial districts and the 20 local government areas of the state. Party faithful in their numbers converge on Pansheke, venue of the exercise for Abeokuta South local government area of the state. Nigeria's ambassador to the United Kingdom, Senator Sharafa Ishola, and the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Architect Olamilekun Adegbite, join other delegates.
What is going on here is electing the various officials of the party at the local government level. The local government that is here is Abeokuta North local government, consisting of 16 wards. And that is, you have the representatives from various wards. You can see them. Accreditation was done here. All the wards are effectively represented. The ward ESCOs are also here to elect their officials. And you can see that the process is going on peacefully and in an orderly manner.
Today's exercise is a continuation of what had started earlier, the ward congresses, and of course the officials were inaugurated yesterday. And of course what's going on today is for the local government executives of the party for APC. There have been, of course, the election is going on now at the Congress. At the end of the day, party officials for the local government, Abeokuta North, will emerge from this.
These party men and women say they are confident of victory for their party in all future elections, in view of the leadership qualities of those elected to paddle the affairs of the party.
I am a supporter of, Senator Ibikule Amosun, and I'm one of his loyalists. And everybody here, we are all his loyalists, and we believe in his leadership. That is why we are here. And we have successfully elected our local government ESCO. You understand, members of the ESCO, 27 of them have been elected today without any rancor. We thank God for that.
Ward and local government officials elected. The leadership of the party says it is ready for the State Congress and the National Convention later in the year. And away from the APC Local Government Congress, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, wants Nigerians to be hopeful for a better nation. Addressing journalists in Abuja, Mr. Mustafa explains that the trajectory of the nation is good, despite the challenges along the way.
We've had our fair share of crises, but we have overcome those crises. And the trajectory into the future is bright. It's bright. If you see some of the things that we've been able to do under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, to exit recession in record time. Most established democracies are still battling with recession. We've exited it, and you can see the growth pattern that is evolving. I believe if Nigerians will consciously acknowledge the fact that this is our nation, this is our country, that everybody can have an opportunity of ventilating their aspirations and also doing the things that they want to do, and get ourselves out of the mode of thinking that Nigeria is not working for us. You see, the power of life and death is in the tongue. What you say about a country is what you get. I think the future looks good. The picture rosy, with fragments here and there. But like I said, building a nation is a gradual process, and it's a sustainable, enduring process. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Most of the democracies that we want to compare ourselves with have lasted 300 years, some 400 years, but they are still battling. As a matter of fact, if there's anything that COVID-19 has done, is that it has even exposed the weaknesses of the system. Systems that we thought were perfect. One small virus came in and just exposed the weaknesses of it.
Back to elections. Rarely do you see governors lose local government elections in their polling units. But that is the experience of the Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, in the just concluded local council elections in Kaduna State. Announcing the election results, the presiding officer of the unit, Mohammed Sani, says the APC polled 62 votes in the chairmanship election, while the PDP scored 86 votes out of the 159 votes cast. In the councillorship election, APC polled 53, while the PDP garnered 100 votes out of the 162 total votes. Earlier on, the governor also spoke on the conduct of the election using electronic voting. For the second time in 3 years, Kaduna State is conducting local government elections to elect chairmen and councillors to run the affairs of that tier of government. The election held across 19 local government areas, with the state electoral umpire, Katsiekom, putting the exercise on hold in 4 other local councils of Birningwari, Chikun, Zangokataf and Kajiru due to what it calls security concerns. A unique feature of the election is the adoption of electronic voting, a system which was first introduced by the State Independent Electoral Commission in 2018. Although voting started late in many polling units due to the late arrival of election officials and materials, in other polling units, it was as a result of low turnout of voters.
You can see we are all out for a war to lose or win. And by the special grace of God, we are looking to the power of Allah to see that we make a change, a very good change, to win the election.
There are people who arrived this venue, I think some minutes after close to 6, but nobody has been here to start the commencement of election.
The major highlight of today's exercise is the use of the electronic voting system for the election. For the governor, it's an accomplishment of his desire for a free and fair election.
I think that there is a significant improvement over 2018 local government elections. The improved voting machine we now have makes it nearly impossible to do multiple voting, which happened a lot in 2018. And also, you activate the voting machine with your voter's card. Once you come, you are accredited that this is your polling unit. You go to the voting machine, you place your voter's card, it opens the machine for you, you vote. The whole process takes less than 15 seconds. So it's very quick, very efficient, and you see your ballot paper being printed so that the ballot papers can be counted in case the tally electronically by the voting machine is not agreeable to all the parties. So we are very happy with the improvements, and we are pleased that this time it will be extremely difficult for anyone to rig these elections.
Results are already trickling in, perhaps a feat that could be ascribed to the electronic voting system. It would appear the Not Too Young to Run Act, signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, is already being gradually maximized by young people across the country as the next general elections approach. Well, many believe the law provides the youth a high level of exposure and leadership at the highest levels and to make an impact on the political scene. In this next report, we look at the importance of the act as well as the impact of shifting power to the younger generation.
The clouds are gathering as Nigeria approaches the 2023 general elections. More young people armed with the provisions of the Not Too Young to Run law are throwing their hats in the ring in the coming elections. With the law came the reduction of the minimum age for presidential candidates from 40 to 35 and the state governors and senators from 35 to 30 years, while the age limit for state assembly will now be 25 years. However, it's not to hurry yet. While young Nigerians seeking office have the law on their side, they still have to contend with running against experienced and established politicians with more resources.
Young people may not have the resources to aspire to contest election like an average age or an average adult.
The narrative seems to be in favor of the youth, but there are also those who say young people don't have much to offer.
They've got character, they've got energy, they've got fresh mind, they've got the capacity, they've got all that it takes.
My problem is that not too young to run issue cannot be domesticated in Nigeria successfully. Why? Because the Nigerian youths are different from Macron and all of this. We have been trying youth. Most of the people in the National Assembly are youths. Some in the Senate, some governor. But will you agree with me that they are a failure, all of them?
But if they must succeed, how can the youth get past the threat of funding?
Young person must first of all aspire. You don't expect, and women, you don't aspire to stay in your bedroom and say, I want to become president. Nobody is coming to pull you out. So look at yourself. Do you have the criteria? Do you have the qualification? Do you have the courage? That's the first thing before you start looking for resources. Nobody can do it alone. But when people look at you and think that, well, you are somebody that is capable by virtue of what you are, you might be considered. So I think there's no inhibition.
Aside from funding, there are lessons young people need to learn from older politicians.
The day that Nigerians stop worshipping any human being, that is the day that this country will come to the right path.
While the arguments about the age of political leaders may persist, Nigerians are clear about two things. They want their votes to count, and they want to put the right people at the helm of affairs.
In outer security, the Edo State Police Command has confirmed the killing of Olajide Sowore, a pharmacy student of the Grenada University. The police also say search and rescue operation is on for 5 unidentified persons who were kidnapped during the incident, where they said Olajide Sowore was killed this morning near Okada, Edo State, along the Benin-Ore-Lagos Road. The founder of Sahara Reporters and a human rights activist, Omoyele Sowore, subsequently confirmed that the slain young man was his immediate younger brother. Our correspondent, Jessica Olugbusere, gives more details.
We are on a section of the Benin-Ore-Lagos Express Road on the outskirts of Benin City, the Edo State capital. Further up this road, according to a statement from the Edo State Police Command, was where at about 6:45 a.m. today, gunmen suspected to be kidnappers kidnapped 5 unidentified persons and in the process shot dead a young man, Felix Olajide Sowore, who was a student of the Grenadian University Okada studying pharmacy. Now, the police say rescue efforts are ongoing as search and rescue operation is on. There were indications that the young man could have been related to human rights activist and founder Sahara Reporters Omoyele Sowore. This has been confirmed. The activist has been eulogizing and mourning his slain brother, condemning the atrocious manner his brother was killed as well. Jessica Olugbusere, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, says the state government will work with security agencies to fish out the killers of Olajide Sowore, brother of a publisher of Sahara Reporters, Omoyele Sowore. He gave the assurances while commiserating with the Sowore family today. In a statement on the incident which occurred this morning, Governor Obaseki said investigations are ongoing to bring the killers to justice. Governor Obaseki prayed that God grant the Sowore family the fortitude to bear the loss. Olajide Sowore, a student of pharmacy at the Grenada University Okada, was killed by gunmen in the Okada area of Edo State. When the news at 10 returns, special report on the congestion of the ports after the MP's revelation that 5,000 containers are abandoned at the ports. Join us again. Just before we bring you that report on the port's congestion, let's bring you one more story from the APC Congress held across the country today, and this time in Imo State, where members of the party, like their counterparts in other parts of the nation, participated in the local government Congress as directed by the party's leadership. Our correspondent who monitored the Congress reports that it was peaceful. Meanwhile, the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodimma, has commended leaders of the party in the state for organizing a successful Congress.
The Southeast has suffered a great deal of marginalization. The Southeast has been excluded in many things. The reason being that we are practicing partisan democracy. And once your party is the ruling party, there are some advantages you will get beyond those who are not members of your party. It is no longer a secret. So we want to be part of the party that controls the federal government so that we can get both our rights and our privileges. Of course, that's why I'm running now, to be able to visit my local government, to also participate in the congresses. The congresses, the report I'm getting from the field, the Congress is going very well, and leaders have been able to put things together, and it will be very transparent, it will be straight, it will be free, and it will also be fair.
Now, decongesting the ports appear to have become rocket science of sorts for the relevant authorities as industry players continue to groan under the heavy burden of clearing their cargoes. With businesses and the economy recording losses, it has become imperative to plug the gap once and for all. Our correspondent Chris Lems reports.
Port operations are easy when ships can load and unload their cargo seamlessly. Business owners clear their goods and move out their wares within a given time frame. This is not the case at the ports in Lagos, as congestion remains a major bottleneck, and it may stay that way for a while, despite efforts to tackle the trend. Several factors are responsible for this, including the capacity of the ports to handle and process the influx of cargo. This has led to cases of corrupt practices and the attendant chaos.
Men in uniform, either naval or military, escorting vehicles illegally.
According to the acting managing director of the MPA, about 5,000 abandoned containers take up space at various terminals.
There are over 5,000 containers across the ports that are overtime cargo.
Why would a business owner abandon this container after spending so much to import same?
In this container now, I have just approximately 12.8 million naira goods. Just because of some certain sizes that make me not to meet up to clear the goods, I am back now to clear these goods. Now, they said that my demurrage on the container is 29 million. Then the terminal charges is 20-something million.
At the port today, it is very, very, difficult for any importer to move his cargo out of the ports because of the method Nigerian Customs Service have, adopted in their operation. Now that we don't have any clear-cut clearance procedure in place, you introduce your cargo to the system, whatever you find in the process, that is your business. Unlike what we had in 2006 to 2010.
Those who are eventually able to wiggle their way through the rigors of cargo clearance would still contend with trucking, which could set them back by as much as ₦1 million. The truckers blame the high charges on the multiple checks, where they pay money at each point.
The money they are collecting from our hand has affected our capacity to service our truck and meet some of our business obligations. The extortion is too much.
While the commencement of rail services to the port sheds a glimmer of hope, barge operators say they move as much as 1 million TEUs of containers annually and could do more with proper regulation and funding. These they add could even spare the newly constructed port roads the burdens of wrong tonnage.
We all know today how difficult it is to raise financing locally. And here we are as local operators competing with international operators who have cost of capital of 0, and even when there's interest rate below 5%.
According to a 2020 survey, Nigeria loses about 20 billion naira daily to congestion. This translates to over ₦500 billion annually, an equivalent of what is required to put up a minimum of 180,000 standard houses. However one chooses to transact businesses at the port, by road, rail, or even the waterways, there appears to be obvious challenges, brick walls,
that must be brought down by the minds of the federal government through deliberate policies and intervention. Otherwise, the people and the economy might continue to bleed from undue and avoidable losses. Chris Alems, Channels Television News.
Internally displaced persons in Borno State whose communities are still unsafe will no longer have to live in temporary shelters. This has been made possible by the federal government's special housing program for the IDPs in the state, with the provision of homes in safer environments.
10,000 resettlement homes are currently being constructed in different parts of Borno State. An initial 1,000 homes have been built in Ngwam town of Mafa local government area, and the government is about to commission them.
So internally displaced persons who deserve this facility. Thank you.
Allocations have commenced, and at least 7,000 women are to benefit at the completion of the project.
That have built this wonderful shelter for the displaced people. You can see that more women are affected. They said from the statistics the governor said, over 7,000 women are benefiting from this.
People are already being relocated to safer towns. So far, at least 5,000 IDPs have been successfully resettled. The completed houses will make room for more displaced families to be resettled.
Fortunately enough, this project is one of the projects that aims to bring medium and longer term sustainable solutions. The shorter term humanitarian support provision of food items to the IDPs is no longer sustainable, and therefore this project, you can see houses are being built to the returnees, that was given to them, food items were given to them, means of livelihoods are also given to them, so they should be on their own.
The idea is to collapse the tradition of living in IDP camps.
The other 9,000 is being handled by the state government, though a federal government intervention, and I think is going simultaneously. They have already started working, and once some of these units, Mr. President was here to commission some, and I'm sure once they finish the others, we'll be able to come back and also commission them.
Resettling IDPs is expected to boost early recovery from the prolonged Boko Haram conflict and impact positively on food production.
Today he has brought us here and given us houses and food and a place to sleep today. We have seen our lives change and our farms are close to us. We are grateful and may God bless him.
I sincerely appreciate this. It's a dream come true. May God uplift the president. May God bless him the more.
This project is coming at a time when conversations are ongoing about Boko Haram repentance, surrender, and reintegration into the larger society. The federal government is simultaneously driving both the IDP resettlement and the Boko Haram reintegration as a catalyst to a quick return of peace to the northeast.
The Forum of Northern Governors' Wives is asking for an immediate end to kidnapping of school children in the region, a situation it says has worsened the number of out-of-school children in the north. The chairman of the council of the forum, who doubles as the Kaduna State First Lady, Mrs. Hadiza El-Rufai, made the call at a media conference in Abuja. Well, according to the Governor's Wives Forum chairman, the current closure of schools by some governors in the region is at best a short-term solution to protect school children from kidnappers. The forum insists that school children cannot be kept perpetually at home because of bandits.
We have here architect Hadiza.
As a short-term basis, I think it's what the state governments are already doing. Like in Kaduna State and recently in Zamfara State, they've closed all the schools. That is a short-term solution. It cannot be sustained that way because we must get our children to school. But as it is now, it's important to keep our children safe. So it doesn't make sense to say that because you want your children educated, you can put them at risk. Meanwhile, I believe that the government is doing all it can
to see that these bandits are defeated once and for all. Long term is deal with the bandits. We cannot continue like this. Something has to change. And I believe that the president, all the people that are supposed to do the right thing are trying to do the right thing. These things are not as easy as they sound, but I believe in the last few weeks, the bandits have really been bombarded. They are under a lot of fire from our security forces. So that's the long-term thing. The long-term strategy is to defeat them so that our children can go to school without feeling like they are in danger. Short-term is whenever you feel a school is at risk, close it down to ensure that our children are safe. But that is in the short term, because children must go to school.
Also, some company news. For the creative minds in Nigeria, there's a chance to be mentored by veterans in the entertainment industry and win a ₦1 million contract from Trophy Lager. The beer brand is choosing to stand by its customers through its hashtag Trophy Stand By Me campaign, which will shortlist 100 creatives and give them a monthly allowance of ₦100,000.
Trophy Lager, also known as Honorable, is not only delivering on its promise to give consumers a refreshing beer experience, but also standing by them in difficult situations and seeks to better their lives. By trying to stem the tide of unemployment in the country, the brand is seeking to empower creatives through its latest campaign, hashtag Trophy Stand By Me.
We're encouraging creatives out there to go out there and interpret now who stand by me. Express that, in your own way. Singing, dancing, skits, comedy, whatever that is creative, an interpretation of that campaign.
But what do the creatives stand to gain by taking advantage of this initiative?
We'll be shortlisting 100 creatives across Nigeria that would go on this journey of this initiative with us. And we'll be standing by them, by giving them a monthly allowance of ₦100,000 for 3 months as the competition progresses. At the end of 3 months, we'll shortlist top 20 that will get mentored, coached by these veterans in the industry. And at the end of this whole process, 3 creatives will be getting ₦1 million contract each, from Trophy Lager.
Trophy Lager's brand ambassadors, Femi Adebayo and Folarin Falana, popularly known as Falz, encourage youths to jump on this opportunity.
Trophy coming out with this initiative at this time is just like an official announcement of what they've been doing over the years, indirectly taking care of a reasonable percentage of unemployment in Nigeria, especially amongst the young ones.
Apart from the remuneration that's coming on the monthly basis, there is also the opportunity to be mentored by personalities like myself, Femi Adebayo, who's also a friend of the brand. So regardless of what field you're in, there's that opportunity for people in fields that I've had the opportunity to be a part of as well. So I think it's a win-win.
Trophy Lager is a flagship product of Giant Brewers International Breweries PLC.
One of the coordinators of the NSAS protest, Sarah Ibrahim, has again failed to show up for her cross-examination at the Lagos State Judicial Panel on restitution for victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters. This prompted the lawyers representing the state, the Lekki Concession Company, and the police to ask the panel to strike out her previous testimony. They premised their application on her continued absence at the sittings of the panel. At her previous testimony, Sarah, who says she was at the protest ground every day, testified that on the night of October the 20th, 2020, at least 10 persons were killed. Counsel to the Lagos State government, Olukayode Enitan, in his application to strike out her testimony, says she has been evading cross-examination after making what he called scandalous claims.
It is my humble submission that the witness hasn't failed to present herself for cross-examination to continue and to be concluded. Should be deemed to have abandoned the cause. I will therefore urge that all evidence given by this particular witness be expunged from the records.
The application now made by Bennett Council in the investigation of the Lekki incident of 20th October 2020 as it affects Ms. Sarah Ibrahim and her inability to conclude her evidence and the application for expunging her testimony will require a decision to be taken by the panel. As we have other petitions for the day, we will not retire into conference now, but adjourn the ruling to 11th of September 2021.
Well, let's now join Teniola Shubawali for the latest business stories.
Thanks a lot, Kayode. Welcome to Business News. 1.87 trillion naira, that's the amount Nigeria recorded as trade deficit in the second quarter of this year, as the country spent 6.95 trillion naira on imports, which is the higher comparative amount to 5.08 trillion naira spent on exports. According to the latest report released today by the National Bureau of Statistics, the total merchandise trade of 12.03 trillion naira recorded within the second quarter was higher by 23.28% against the previous quarter and 88.71% more year-on-year. India was top among the country's major trading partner, as it accounted for 18.7% of the merchandise trade, while China was the number one import trading partner with a total of 29.91% of the transactions. Meanwhile, the report shows that crude oil, which accounts for 80.29% of total export, rose sharply by 111.32% against the previous quarter to 4.078 trillion naira, while non-crude oil exports recorded 19.71% growth, or 1 trillion naira of total export trade within the period. The central bank says its digital currency, e-Naira, which is scheduled to be unveiled in the last quarter of this year, will enhance the effectiveness of its monetary policy. This comes as the Monetary Policy Committee of the Financial Market Regulator prepares for its next meeting on September the 20th and 21st. In a statement released today, the CBN highlights the benefits of the e-Naira to include a marked improvement in its monetary policy transmission, adding that transactions on the e-Naira will be at lower cost and greater time efficiency for all users. It adds that the digital currency, which is expected to rather complement than replace the paper money and coins currently in circulation, would also facilitate cross-border remittances as well as improved efficiency in payment system. Now, the domestic stock market ended the first trading week of September in the red, down by 0.57%, following induced profit-taking in 3 out of the 5 trading sessions. 117 billion naira loss in value comes amid sell pressure on 36 equities from 4 key sectors of equities listed on the NGX, particularly the oil and gas sector, which dipped by nearly 0.3%. However, performance on the activity chart of equities performance was positive when compared to last week's trading, as a total of 1.34 billion shares changed hands for 8.65 billion naira in over 19,800 deals. Meanwhile, Transcorp Hotels led a pack of 26 gainers, up by 10%. Owando led 35 other losers, down by 15.21%, while the trio of Transcorp, Honeywell, Access Bank were major contributors to the total volume of shares traded this week. And that's business news tonight. I'm Teniola Shoboale. It's back to Kayode for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Tenny. On the foreign scene, the Ethiopian military claims it has killed more than 5,600 members of the Tigray rebel forces it is fighting in the north of the country. According to a statement by Lieutenant General Bacha Debele, a further 2,300 rebels have been injured and 2,000 captured. They also accused the rebel Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, of trying to break up Ethiopia. The UN says millions of civilians face starvation due to the conflict, which began in November. Thousands of people are thought to have been killed and millions have been forced from their homes, with some fleeing into Sudan. Both sides have been accused of committing atrocities, including rape and mass civilian killings. Fresh fighting has been reported in Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley, the last region in the country holding out against the armed group. One of the resistance leaders in the valley, Amrullah Saleh, has dismissed reports that the Taliban captured the region, but admits that conditions are difficult, with the Taliban closing phone, internet and electricity lines. The fighting comes with the Taliban set to finalize a government. And for the latest in the world of sports, here's Kayode Alayade.
Thank you, Kaide. Welcome to Sports News. Nigeria's football ecosystem has been decorated in all yellow as the Nigeria Football Federation and MTN Nigeria PLC signed a 3-year partnership agreement. The partnership confirmed MTN Nigeria PLC as the official communications partner of the Super Eagles and other national teams.
Members of the MTN board here with us.
The event was attended by the Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Sunday Dare, NFF officials led by the President, Amaju Pinnick, and the MTN board members led by the Chairman, Ernest Ndukwe.
All over the place.
The partnership with the NFF, which runs for a renewable 3 years, is worth 500 million naira per year.
In Abuja, in Lagos, in Abeokuta, in Katsina.
MTN Nigeria PLC describes the platform as one which will unite and impact on the lives of millions of Nigerians.
MTN is always interested in giving back to the subscribers, to the society. We regard this sponsorship as a way of giving back to Nigerians. We know Nigerians love the game of football a lot. And it's a way of, giving back. That sponsoring football will bring happiness and a unifying factor to Nigerians, because one thing, no matter our differences, one thing that always unites Nigeria is game of football.
The federal government commends MTN Nigeria PLC for its investment in Nigerian football as it aligns with its desires for the country's sports federation to be self-funding.
We invested 18 months trying to build and put together a sports industry policy with a business model for our country. At the core of that policy is leveraging on private partnership. So what we've seen here today, MTN supporting our national football teams, speaks to the very heart of the future of sports development. What we have seen today signposts the future of sports development, the future of football as business in this country.
MTN Nigeria believes this will be a productive and value-adding partnership that can combine the role that technology plays with the incredible experiences that football provides for citizens.
Meanwhile, Team Nigeria has ended its Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games campaign with 10 medals after winning a gold and a bronze medal in athletics. Flora Ogun threw a mark of 18.39 meters to claim gold medal in the women's F54 javelin event and retained the title she won at the Rio 2016 Games. Ogun also set a new season's best. Lorita Onye posted 8.29 meters to settle for bronze medal in the women's F40 shot put event. Nigeria finished the games with 4 golds, 1 silver and 5 bronze medals. And that will be all from the world of sports. It's back to Kaidi for the rest of the news at 10.
Well, thanks, Coyote. And the main news again. It's the era of electronic voting in Kaduna State as local government elections are held. Governor Nasir El-Rufai loses polling unit to the People's Democratic Party. And suspected kidnappers kill Igbenedion University student, the younger brother of activist Omoyele Sowore. Governor Godwin Obaseki commiserates with the victim's family. And that's the news at 10. Thank you for watching. I'm Coyote Okikiolu. Good night.